San Diego State, a mainstay in postseason play in recent years. The Aztecs take on Central Michigan at the New Mexico Bowl. We got Steve Helwick on the line. You can join him and the rest of the staff there at Underdog Dynasty. Also at Hustle Belt, both of those on the SB Nation platform for college athletics. Steve, how you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Less than a week till bowl season, so that'll be fun, getting to see all these matchups for a couple weeks straight. Bowl season is one of my favorite times of year, so I'm looking forward to all these games coming up, all these matchups to analyze.
41 bowl games. Love it. It gets started on Friday and Saturday, the 20th and 21st. We're looking at Central Michigan and San Diego State. The Aztecs making it through a difficult Mountain West schedule, went 5-3 in the conference, 9-3 overall. And San Diego State with 3 one-score losses. They were that close to pulling off a undefeated season, the last of which was a 14-11 decision against Hawaii, a team that advanced to the Mountain West Conference Championship game. And, of course, Central Michigan as well at 6-2 with a championship game under its belt. Your initial thoughts about this matchup?
It's going to be low scoring, probably take the under because San Diego State games don't have points in them. San Diego State did not score. I think they scored more than 30 points once this year. In their 3 losses, they scored under 20 points in all of them. They were all one-possession losses. I'm pulling up the schedule here to see they lost 23-17 to Utah State in a near comeback win in late September. And then they lost 2 of their last 4, 17-13 to Nevada and 14-11 to Hawaii. So when you're scoring that few of points, all it takes is 1 or 2 defensive lapses to lose a game, and that's what happened to San Diego State in those matchups against Nevada and Hawaii. And that game against Hawaii cost them the West Division, which I thought San Diego State would have had a much better chance at winning the Mountain West Championship game than Hawaii did against Boise State, just because San Diego State's defense imposes a will on every single team. They finished 4th in fewest points allowed per game this year, I think averaging just 12.8. And teams really weren't scoring much on them. The most that they allowed this year was 23 points to Utah State, I think. And they beat an FCS team 6-0 this year. That shows how great San Diego State's defense is, but how their offense leaves so much left to be desired. Lukman Barku, I think he's second in the nation in interceptions, is a force out of their secondary. He has 8 picks this year. And he has really helped San Diego State win so many turnover battles this season and help contribute to the defense. But overall, it's just a great tackling unit. They force so many 3-and-outs, and they win games down the stretch. They beat BYU, a really good 7-5 team. BYU beat USC. They beat Tennessee. They beat Boise State. But when they played San Diego State, they lost 13-3. Fresno State lost 17-7. Just some other games this year: Colorado State 24-10, UCLA 23-14. That same UCLA team that dropped 67 on Washington State's defense. No victim is safe from the San Diego State defense, but teams can outscore their offense just because that the offense has not done that well this year. Ryan Agnew, their quarterback, he's a good quarterback. If you watch Ryan Agnew play, he makes so many plays that it will remind you of like a Johnny Manziel or even that Joe Burrow play in the SEC championship game where he dodged the Georgia defenders and nearly threw that touchdown pass. There's so many times where Agnew will scramble around and face pressure and throw some across the field throw on the run that gets complete to like a wide receiver like Kobe Smith. And San Diego State's offense does show flashes of success at times. But I think what really limited the Aztecs this year was their inability in the rushing game. They had such a long streak heading into last season of 1,000-yard rushers, and it was shattered in the Frisco Bowl when Juwan Washington surpassed the 1,000 mark, then had a loss of like 2 or 3 at the end to get to 999 yards. But this year, Washington only has 500 yards. He's averaging 3.3 yards a carry, and I think he's still injured and questionable for the Frisco Bowl, which would leave Chase Jasmine, San Diego State's backup running back, to have to produce some of their offense there. Now, their opponent, Central Michigan. Central Michigan had a really good offense that was putting up 40 on several MAC teams late in the season. But the Chippewas, when they run into a good defense, man, do they fold. And that is exactly what happened in the MAC championship game facing the Miami Redhawks. They only had 21 points in that game. They had one interception in kind of deep into Miami territory. And the Redhawks were forcing 3 and outs like crazy in that game. Quentin Dormandy did not have one of his better games as a passer. And Miami really limited Central Michigan's star running back duo of Jonathan Ward and Kobe Lewis. Lewis is just a couple yards away from also hitting the 1,000 mark, which Ward has already attained this year. I think San Diego State could feasibly stop this offense in this game and win this game by something like 16-13, just because of how great their defense is. Central Michigan does have a lot of good players offensively. I mentioned Dormandy earlier. He's the transfer quarterback from Houston, played at Tennessee before Houston. Their running back duo is great, and they have the best wide receiver in the conference in Khalil Pimpleton, who will also be the best wide receiver in this game. I think he had around 80 catches this year and dominated so many MAC defenses, but I don't know if Central Michigan's offense is built for superior defenses like this. Remember when they played Wisconsin? They lost 61-0. So it's just a matter of Central Michigan's offense. If they can get through the San Diego State defense and score maybe 3 touchdowns, they win this game. That's how low scoring this one's going to be in Albuquerque.
Ja'Cory Sullivan chips in Pimpleton's productivity with 54 catches for Central Michigan as well. And just again, to outline what you talked about concerning the Aztecs defense, it's pretty remarkable in this day and age to see a team that didn't score 30 points past September to score 20, 17, and 13 in their last 3 wins against quality competition there in the Mountain West Conference. So San Diego State at 9-3, Central Michigan coming off a disappointing championship game loss to Miami at 8-5. Offense versus defense, who do you see winning this battle?
I'm going to say San Diego State in a close one. Rocky Long, I think he's the most underrated coach in college football. I think in college football playoff era, San Diego State's probably top 10 in wins. I know they have over 50 wins since 2014, and they're just a consistent, successful program every single year. Last year, they had a rough season, losing 5 out of their last 6 to finish 7-6 and get shut out in the Frisco Bowl to Ohio. But Rocky Long really rebooted that unit this year, especially on the defensive end. And it's one of those teams where it doesn't matter what they do on offense. They kind of remind me of last year's Chicago Bears in the NFL, where the Bears didn't really have much of a semblance of an offense, but with guys like Khalil Mack and Eddie Jackson on the defense, that the Bears were a playoff team and NFC North champions. I think that San Diego State's kind of built very similarly to that, where at times their offense can deliver when needed. Like late in the Utah State game, they almost roared to a comeback in that one. But I don't think that they have the production to beat Central Michigan. And if this game gets into the 20s or somehow if it would get into the 30s. The Chippewas do have a good offense, as I keep mentioning. Their defense is middle of the road. They had to replace 2 cornerbacks that got drafted in the NFL draft last year and a star linebacker in Malik Fountain. But another coach that I think is underrated is Jim McElwain. So I think this is a great coaching matchup because McElwain has had success everywhere he goes. He turned around Florida and didn't really get a chance in his 3rd season. It was going to be a rough season, but they booted him midway through the season. I know Dan Mullen's done a great job of taking over that program since. But McElwain had the great success at Colorado State. His first 2 years at Florida were SEC East championships. And then he takes a 1-11 Central Michigan team and gets them to 8-5 conference championship appearance in a bowl game. So this is just going to be a matchup between 2 great underrated coaches in college football. And it's going to be the first game on that Saturday at the New Mexico Bowl. So I think this is going to be a nice, tight matchup to look forward to. Just don't expect many touchdowns or points.
MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. Please like, comment, share the videos, and subscribe if you love the game that we love. We talk it each and every day, all year, 24/7, 365 with guys like Steve Helwick. Please join him at Underdog Dynasty and Hustle Belt on SB Nation. Steve, we appreciate you stopping by. Enjoy the games.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.